I used to listen to people's prayers, asking for God's help or justice or vengeance sometimes. I thought that God let me hear the prayers so that I could answer. So that's what I did. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to help people. When I heard all those prayers, all those suffering people, I thought it was God's voice. But I was wrong. All I ever heard was people in pain, and all he ever gave any of us was silence. I was deluding myself. My delusion was thinking God had anything to do with it. Now, I'm not as capable as I was, but I don't get to choose who I am. I'm Daredevil. Not even God can stop that now.
Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we talk about our favorite video games and all things pop culture with an emphasis on our favorites. We're your hosts Jared, Mauro, and Chaz.
Hey, my name is Mauro. This is my voice. This is Mauro's voice that is attached to Mauro.
Hello, welcome. I am one of the great members of the Weeb Nation, and I hope you guys enjoy your time here.
And on this episode, we are talking about the man without fear, Daredevil. Daredevil, created by Stan Lee and Bill Everett with input from Jack Kirby, the Devil of Hell's Kitchen first appeared in Daredevil #1 in April 1964. We talk not only about the comics, but also his appearance in the MCU. And with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time!
Let's all prepare to be dazzled, shall we?
But yeah, man, I've been wanting to talk about Daredevil for like the longest time. And I just want to get it out here. It is one of the best, if not the best, things to come out in the MCU. And what's weird is for the longest time, people were like saying that the Defenders shows and stuff wasn't connected to the MCU for some reason, even though stuff that happens in the movies are directly like referenced and talked about.
Yeah, the whole reason that Nelson and Murdoch's law firm was so like cheap for them to get when they were starting off was because that's where the Chitauri attack happened. And
right after.
Right after. I feel like, well, you said it's funny that you said in the beginning, oh, let's try to flow into this naturally, but there's nothing more unnatural about a guy who loses his eyesight and then like can just sense your overall aura afterwards. However, that is still one of the most grounded abilities in the MCU. Because watching Daredevil, I forget that there's magic in the MCU.
Right?
Watching the Netflix shows, period, even with all the super, because the super heightened senses is pretty much the only like ooh factor in at the very least in the first two seasons, and this goes for pretty much all of the other Netflix live action shows. I have a question though.
Yeah.
So you said that for the longest time, people didn't think that it was like they were all connected. I still think like even back then, those people didn't really know what they were talking about because like those shows, I would classify them right alongside Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they're like, they're canon and like events that happen in the movies get, mentioned in the shows. It's just that it's a big world. You don't have to be like, they're not always going to be talking about Iron Man and Captain America. And it's like, okay, like it happened, move on. It's 2015. Like I have a law firm that I got to deal with. Plus there's like a new guy killing pedophiles out there. And like, I kind of don't like killing people. By the way, season 2 of Daredevil was the best Punisher season.
Other than the Punisher shows, yes, I agree. I think the weakest part of the entire Defenders thing is it's the Punisher, because he only really fits in just because he, the Punisher and the Daredevil just naturally mesh in the comics, so they gotta bring it up in the show somehow, of course, which is awesome. The stuff that happened in season 2 was great, especially since we got like a good balance between like superhero stuff and like lawyer stuff, which is like his whole thing. So that was cool. But yeah, the Punisher show, it's all right. It's expected. Nothing to write home about. Doesn't do anything to the overall lore of, the MCU or even the Defender stuff. So like it's there. I'm glad it's there at least,
So like on a scale from 9 to 10, what do you think I should watch it?
From 9 to 10?
From 9 to 10. That's usually my scale I give people.
But you said when to watch it?
No, if I should watch it.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you like the Punisher, then yeah, watch it. Because if you like the character.
I grew up, I saw the movie that came out, which I really loved. And
I remember. There's 2 movies.
There was 2? Wow.
Yeah.
My mom does not love me.
There's like the first one, and I think the other one is based on the comic series War war journal or something. I could be wrong.
I like John. Was it John or Joe? John Bernthal's the one who plays Frank Castle. I think it's John Bernthal. I like his performance. I like the way he does the character, and I feel like he didn't really need a show. Just him showing up in Daredevil would have been okay. Would have been fine. Yeah. We got his backstory there. We got his ideology. It clashed with Daredevil's. They had their whole arc, and then at the end they kind of resolved it. And he showed up and he fixed all within one season, and it didn't feel rushed or pressed in my opinion. So I thought it was. Like, I didn't think he needed a show. Really, half a season, because the entire first half of season 2 is about Punisher and getting him set free, or the whole trial stuff. That's true. Then the other half is about Elektra and the Hand and setting up for the Defenders miniseries. Honestly, the way they managed to bring so many plot points together in a natural way in season 2 is probably what Young Justice wishes it could be doing. Oh, wow. Sorry to bring that wound up. I'm just... Somebody's hurt. I'll get me back. I'm hurt too, and I'm not going to suffer alone. Okay. But yeah, I remember when this show first came out, and this was after Avengers 1 and all that stuff, and I was interested just because like the new hit thing. I didn't know what Daredevil was about. I didn't know who he was or whatever, and being raised Christian and all that stuff, like devil, a superhero with devil in the name, I was already weirded out. And let me tell you, the intro sequence freaked me the hell out when I was first watching it, because I didn't know if it was blood or something at first, because like at that time, like the imagery of blood was like very disturbing to me, but like I know it's now candle wax and stuff, and just the overall sequence just freaked me out, and I was weird because of the music and everything. But like after watching the show, and when did this came out? 2013 or something, released 2015. When I was 15, watching this show, it opened my eyes, sorry for the pun, to the street level superhero Marvel characters and stuff, and I'm pretty sure like this is the best iteration we have of this ever, like in the MCU period. I personally prefer street level superhero stuff than Avenger level threats and whatever that happens in the movies. I mean, I love the so here it is. I love street level and I love cosmic shit in Marvel. So Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm fucking there. Daredevil, I'm fucking here. But yeah, thanks to this show, I fell in love with Daredevil and the street level stuff, and because of it, Daredevil is my favorite Marvel superhero of all time. And it's mainly because of this show, and of course the acting from Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock Daredevil. He is, just like many other actors with their superhero roles, he is Daredevil. Grant Gustin is the Flash. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, right? It's like the perfect casting for this character, and Daredevil is like a part of what Batman is, or is one of the three parts of the Batman equivalent in Marvel. So it's Daredevil, Moon Knight, and Spider-Man. Weirdly enough, if you combine all those people, you get Batman, kind of. But I think in terms of character and actual story and morals and all that stuff, Daredevil's the closest thing to a Batman. I was waiting to see how long 9 minutes and 20 seconds until you brought up Batman. But that's good, because I didn't want to speak about that. But first, I just want to hold on. I understand Daredevil and Moon Knight. Spider-Man, when he gets rich. When he's older and becomes like a tech billionaire or whatever with his own company. Okay. Right. And if anything else, combat wise, gadget wise, because Daredevil doesn't have a lot of gadgets. Moon Knight doesn't have a lot of gadgets. That's true. Spider-Man. Moon Knight, because of the brutality and the cape. Daredevil, brutality and everything else. And Spider-Man, kind of money, combat, gadgets. And the PS4, 5 Spider-Man games also, play into that. Chaz, I want your opinion on this because I feel like, yeah, obviously there's a big comparison between Batman and Daredevil, but I feel like Daredevil is a more realistic version of Batman because at first, you know, he tries not to kill, even though it tends to happen. And then when he's having that ideological fight with Punisher in season 2, at the end, when him and Elektra are like fighting a million ninjas at once, and the Punisher shows up and starts shooting, it's supposed to be like a really good, like, oh, you know, Punisher came in at the last second and helped them out. He doesn't mind that Punisher's killing people around him, so he's flexible with his no killing rule. How do you feel about that?
I'm gonna just hold on to like the one note you started off with. He's a more realistic Batman.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go with realism, I can't fully agree with a blind man fighting, let alone as well as he does.
Well, hold on. It's a comic. Take it easy.
To the point where this, the reason I'm gonna say this Matt Murdock can see water drops is crazy to me.
He sees better than you and I.
Yeah, that was like weird. But on a comparison to Batman, we're talking about Bruce Wayne, correct? The generic Batman.
Yes.
Batman, yes.
Okay.
Batman.
Okay, because I would say there is a Batman.
Bruce Wayne.
There you go.
Because if we compare to Thomas Wayne, then they're gladly on the same level. But if we're talking about Bruce.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, Bruce.
I do see the comparison. Batman is lenient when it comes to like the killing as well. It just depends on like the environment and who he is fighting with. That's the best way to put it. Because if he like works with what are you gonna call him, anti-hero, I think is what you would call him. There'll be times when he has fought with like the Red Hood, and the Red Hood would like, you know, pop a couple caps.
Well, I haven't seen every single story that Batman has been in with the Red Hood, but usually in the stories where he's working alongside Batman, he makes it a point to bring up the fact that he's using rubber bullets, and this is why I meant like Daredevil is more realistic in the sense that if Batman is fighting alongside an anti-hero, like Chad said, and that anti-hero starts killing people, Batman will stop everything and be like, stop killing people.
Yes, he will does that. Just
Daredevil's just kind of like, you know, I disagree with it, but we have more pressing matters right now, you know, and it's whatever. Oh yeah, you know, he did touch that kid, by the way, so.
If Daredevil can't stop it, he will. He'll do whatever he can, like with Elektra, but friggin' Punisher was like 2 buildings away. Like he couldn't do anything about it.
He's like, whatever.
He just lost one of the love of his life, and you know, he's like, oh, all right, whatever. I can't really do much.
Another person.
Well, we'll talk about that later, maybe. And then he's like, I'll keep doing what you're doing.
What's that, the name? The other blind guy. That was another person Stick? He couldn't stop from killing. Yeah, there you go, Stick. He couldn't stop Stick from killing people as well. That's true. He did his best, but overall, to me, Stick is outperforming Matt Murdock. That shows room for Matt Murdock to grow, though, as the Daredevil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That people like him, has that amount of potential. Makes me very excited when I saw that, because I was like, all right, there's not going to be a cap. There's not going to like, all right, he's blind, he's fighting. Now it's all only personal character development. It'll always be his combat character development as well. Because I also like seeing like heroes grow with their fighting skills as well.
That's true.
Yeah, and he picks up a lot like during the seasons, like learns how to use his powers in different ways. And speaking of his powers, let's talk about that origin. He obviously he pushes an old man off the street from getting hit by a car, and then he gets radiation chemicals splash into his eyes, right? And then he gets super heightened abilities and a radar sense, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's technically canon that same batch of chemicals that splashed Matt Murdock is the same chemicals that mutated the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is canon.
Are you for real?
This is canon.
I accept.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
And that's not all in terms of like the similarities between Daredevil and the Ninja Turtles and how else they connect. So Daredevil fights a group of ninjas called the Hand, whereas the Turtles fight a group of ninjas called the Foot.
The Foot Clan. Oh my God.
Daredevil's mentor, Stick. The Turtles' mentor, father, Splinter.
Dude, Okay. All right.
You're putting dots together like the Illuminati.
And to even further like point to like the Batman stuff we were talking about, we have a TMNT Batman crossover comic and movie. So like,
oh, whoa, movie.
Yeah, dude, the movie's sick, bro.
Hold on.
What you gotta check that out.
Hold on. Are we? Am I confused?
I'm looking this up right now. Hold on.
TMNT Batman. Yeah, it's a great film.
I've seen the Batman and Scooby Doo movie. I thought that was amazing.
Wait. So the chemical. Sorry. Okay. So there's a Batman and TMNT movie, correct?
Yeah.
Right. And the same chemicals that got in Matt Murdock eyes is the ones that produce the turtles, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
All right, so tell me if I'm wrong, which I'm pretty sure I'm right. Matt Murdock is Marvel, Batman is DC.
Yep.
Yeah.
And TMNT is riding a fine line of merging universes.
Look, man, they're clearly universe-hopping turtles.
And they do that in their respective shows and comics, which is, it's the turtles are the hub to every other comic world. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, there was a TMNT comic where literally there's, a Shredder is talking to all these gangs and stuff, and then in one of the panels you see like the Warriors from the 1979 film. It's
right.
Like it's New York. Which New York? I don't know. It's New York. How'd they get to Gotham? There's no Gotham. It's New York. It's New York. Whatever. It's just they hop through time. Like it happens. I think they did that in the TMNT movie too, where like the 2008 or 2009 one. Where there's like a bunch of monsters coming in from.
Great film, man. That's such a great film too.
Oh
my god.
Awesome.
But
so
I just wanted to bring that up.
How shook I was today, right? Just seeing like first it was Punisher got me all excited to see that today, and then it was seeing Elektra, but like imagine, do you know, like I would drive down Florida to come yell at you, Jared. If all I heard was "I'm Batman" while like Daredevil is just sitting on the top of a building.
It's an exciting day for Chaz.
I'm supposed to be at work right now. Like I got the day off, I'm on call, but they would have called me and be like, "Hey, where are you?" I would have like, "I'm in South Florida yelling at my friend. I'm not coming in today." It is serious right now. Oh, but thank you for that. That's going to keep me up tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I texted this in the group chat last night that I think a Batman Arkham style Daredevil game is almost too perfect to not do, like they can, like the combat is already there because you have Nightwing and Arkham Knight. The Predator sections are already there because Batman has X-ray vision. Daredevil has all of his senses. It's too easy. And for you just gotta open up the parkouring and like the swinging with the Billy Club, like use some stuff from the Spider-Man engine. You got that. If you combine those two games, you can get Daredevil, and it's almost too perfect. Sure.
All right. Well, I want to start at point A for this. Did you see the movie with I think his name Ben Affleck?
Yes, I did.
The Daredevil movie.
Yes, I did.
Okay. You sound hurt. We're just not gonna linger on that. We're not gonna linger on that too long.
Also, Ben Affleck, Daredevil, and he's Batman. Like, come on.
Chaz, it took too long.
I was trying to get away from it. I was trying.
Ben Affleck is Daredevil and Batman. That also furthers more connection. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry about it. I was trying to guide him away from it before you realized it. To ruin your game. So you know the way Ben Affleck sees it, right? And then the way he's able to see in his movie is like a ripple effect.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird, but like imagine they used his vision.
No.
And that's the way you had to play the game.
No.
With his limitations.
That'd be tough.
Like,
don't
can you
want
imagine
it.
like you're sneaking around, but you can't see anything until you like flick a wall? Just like
I'm not a fan of the Ben Affleck way. I like even though it's a little cheesy, I like the way they do it in the Marvel show, where he describes it as like a world on fire.
Yeah.
That seems like yeah, he can. What is it? He can sense their heat radiation or something, like heat radiating out their body.
Yeah, all his senses are just absolutely like through the roof. Apparently, like all of them.
He can practically see her face. What's her? It's not Karen. It's the nurse. What's her name?
Oh, the one that's
Dawson?
in all the Marvel
Rosario
shows?
Dawson, yes. He can.
Claire.
Claire, there we go. He can practically see her face in that shot that we get to see his vision. Like it's
Oh, and it was pretty. Like when I tell you, it was accurate. I was shook. I was like, just lie to people and say you can see at this point.
Honestly, yeah.
I think it'd be easier to lie and say you can see than it is to lie and say you're blind. Right?
Right to explain. It's like I'm so blind. How did I catch this Kafka? I don't know.
It's like you can say you can see, but you have impaired vision and they don't got glasses for your eyesight. You can get away with that.
You can do that. You can say that you're legally blind, right?
Or this whole I'm blind thing and randomly just pretending to throw a stick across the sidewalk and run into an alley and start climbing buildings. There's no way the homeless guy under the bridge can see that, bro.
Who's gonna believe him, Chaz? Who's gonna believe him?
Me, I will.
I just saw that lawyer just run up the wall and then jump off and grab onto the helicopter and then do a little tour. Yeah, okay, buddy. All right.
Like, as much as convincing as Matt Murdock tries to make this stick seem, I've seen this man just randomly hit the stick against the ground and just start making random turns. There was nothing that identified that him and this is
I didn't know there was a turn there. Right here. I touched the ground. It just felt like there was a turn.
But yeah, even I would definitely take the game as the show's version of Sight. Will it get annoying at some point? Absolutely. But I think that should be like there should be like moments where they put that into the game.
Well, what I'm thinking is just like, it's still third person, right? You still see everything as it is, like as you would any video game, but you press a button and boom, just like the X-ray vision in Batman Arkham, you see through Daredevil's eyes. You know what I mean?
Oh, almost like Eagle Vision in Assassin's Creed.
Exactly like Eagle Vision.
That's what I was thinking too. If Eagle Vision could be his, like when you're in detective mode, right? In the Arkham games, when you're in detective mode in there, like for example, have you guys played Watch Dogs?
I have not.
Well, it doesn't really matter. It's the same Assassin's Creed and even Arkham Knight thing where you sneak into a little compound and it's a closed off area with a bunch of goons and you have to. There's objective X, whatever. You can go into that little world on fire mode that Daredevil has and pick. Highlight all of the enemies, see where everything is. You could see through walls and stuff like that. And then based off of that, once you're ready, you go out and you start taking them off either stealthily or hallway scene, hallway fight scene, however you want to do it. And that would be amazing. If you could grab microwaves and chairs and just start throwing them around or like in Sleeping Dogs, like if the environment reacts to how you're beating people up, that would be insane.
I mean, also like Arkham.
Yeah, I also like Arkham.
I'm just saying,
you can throw people into things.
It's too perfect not to do. And it's not like there's a question in popularity with Daredevil. Like, I know he's not a mainstream superhero, but everybody who is a Marvel or superhero fan that has watched the show and even read the comics when Frank Miller was doing those issues can agree that it's some of the best Marvel stories and products, period. Why do you think people even gave a shit to watch She-Hulk? Because they wanted to see Daredevil. I wanted to see Daredevil. And She-Hulk played it smart. They teased Daredevil all the way until the final 2 episodes of the series, of the season, to get people to watch it. And they never made it clear what episode he's going to appear in. Nope. So they kept teasing us to watch the damn freaking show. And they were so smart about it.
They knew the show couldn't stand on its own 2 legs. I feel like you could, with no hate to the people behind it, all of the costume designers, the script writers, the actors, there's a lot that goes into a show. Obviously, it's not just, we can't just shit on the show in general because there's a lot of good people there. However, the marketing team knew that for some reason or another, the show could not stand on its own 2 legs, and they teased the shit out of it with a character that, you're absolutely right, Jared, people do like. If that character is the one thing that'll get people to come onto a new video game, dude, gamers don't need an excuse to play a game. They'll play a beat 'em up. It doesn't matter who it is. Yeah. Daredevil, it'll just bring in Marvel fans.
And it's not just Matt Murdock, Daredevil, or Charlie Cox, but also, why do you think people watched freaking Hawkeye and Echo? Echo is a double whammy, but Hawkeye, it's because of, what's his name?
Jeremy Renner?
Vincent Kingpin.
Oh, right. Kingpin was... Oh, my God. I forgot Kingpin was in Hawkeye. That's right.
He was the main villain in Hawkeye. And first of all, he is a perfect Kingpin. What I said about Charlie Cox as the perfect Daredevil, same thing with Vincent as Kingpin. He's a perfect iteration of Kingpin. And if it wasn't for him being in Hawkeye and in Echo, nobody would have given a shit. And with Echo, which was introduced in Hawkeye, nobody would have given a shit, two shits, if Kingpin and Daredevil wasn't in that show. I'm telling you, with Echo, with Hawkeye, and She-Hulk, the only reason why I watched those shows or gave a shit to watch them was to see Daredevil and Kingpin. That's it.
It's like it's that little connection. And Disney's been doing that a lot. With the Book of Boba Fett, they had 2 whole episodes where it was just The Mandalorian 2.5. Yeah, but it's cool. It's cool that they're doing that. It's cheesy and it's cheap, but it's also cool because it does bring in the Netflix cinematic universe, I want to say, into the spotlight, because there were a lot of, like, recently I've seen, well, not recently, but back when Disney Plus came out, a lot of people were asking whether these Netflix shows were still canon.
Which is so dumb.
I see nothing to say they aren't.
Right.
And if anything, like, now it's even more confirmed that they are, because it's like, okay, these are the same characters. They have the same roles.
We have Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. We have Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye in these shows. Like, what else do you want? Kate Bishop is in the latest Marvel movie. Or the Marvels, excuse me.
The Marvels, yeah.
I think they want the full Avenger team to just pull up mid-show.
Here's the thing. Who even is the full Avengers team at this point? Who are the Avengers right now?
Original Justice League members. There is no original set. If you think about it that way, you just got the group that people liked, and you got a group that other people like.
At this moment, as of recording, at the end of the Marvels, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, is starting to recruit new members of the new Avengers. So it's Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. Okay. Most likely is going to be Ant-Man's daughter. I forget her name.
Ant-Man daughter. First name Ant-Man, last name daughter.
That's the team so far for the new Avengers. And, like, again, nobody's going to give a shit.
Aren't these like the young Avengers? Isn't the core roster, isn't fucking Falcon, Captain America?
Captain Falcon.
I thought it was, hold on. As far as I knew, it was Captain Falcon.
Also, I completely forgot about that show.
Yeah. Falcon and the Winter Soldier wasn't the best show out there, but I enjoyed it when Falcon and Bucky were on screen.
Yeah, no, it's a good show. It's a good show, but again, I forgot about it.
Yeah, no, fair. It sucks. It sucks that we forgot that it. Man, I really, ever since Winter Soldier, I've wanted to see more Bucky. Yeah, and it just kind of never really got around to happening. Civil War was supposed to be about him, but then not really. Yeah. And then he spends like 4 years healing or something, only to show up for like 2 seconds in Infinity War and not even have like a piece of dialogue with Steve Rogers. What happened there? I know I'm going off on a tangent, but Jesus.
This whole thing is a tangent. But to bring it back to the original point, nobody will care about the majority of these side shows that will eventually lead on to the overall MCU movie phase. What are we, 4, 5, or whatever the hell with Kang?
I think we're in 4 going into 5. I don't know. Forget it.
Yeah, the shit with Kang the Conqueror, and then I'm assuming eventually Galactus. Nobody will give a shit about most of these shows if it wasn't for Daredevil. And we're getting a new show in 2025 next year, Daredevil Born Again, and that title is a story arc in the comics, and it's regarded as one of the best Daredevil stories of all time. So, and we get to see events from Born Again, from the comics, in season 3 of Daredevil. There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of, plot stuff. But, like, this is something to keep everybody, like, still holding on, having faith in Marvel to produce another great thing. And it's working for me because I'm super excited for Born Again.
Well, what happens in the comics in Born Again? Like, what's that about?
I'll tell you like a quick little summary if I find it real quick.
I did find it. We are officially in phase 5.
We're in phase 5. Okay.
Cool.
In the Born Again storyline, Karen Page returns as a heroin-addicted porn star and sells Daredevil's secret identity for drug money. The Kingpin acquires the information and, in act of revenge, orchestrates a frame-up that costs Murdoch his attorney's license. Frank Miller, ended the arc on a positive note with Murdoch reuniting with both Karen and Maggie, the mother he thought was dead, now a nun. So, like, that type of stuff is already there in season 3, but like I know there's a whole lot more they can do, especially after this entire story arc and all that stuff. There's so much they can do with Daredevil, and like, you know, he has become a core element of Marvel throughout the years. It's mainly thanks to Frank Miller and like his stories that comes out of it.
I mean, it's definitely the thing about Daredevil in the comics. I've seen, like, for example, I don't know how long, this is relatively recent, but not super recent. There was a comic storyline where it was Daredevil versus Punisher, where Daredevil was leading either the hand or the fist, and Frank Castle was leading the other one, whichever he was at least, and you know, they were fighting, and it ended with I can't remember how Daredevil's story ended, but it ended with the Punisher going off and doing his own thing and not being the Punisher anymore. Right. And it started some new Punisher guy as Punisher, whatever. But there's a lot of gritty realism in Daredevil. Yeah. Which I feel worked really good in Netflix, but I'm afraid of how Disney Plus is going to deal with it. And I'm not trying to shit on Disney Plus. I know that it can do realistic, gritty shows. However, in Daredevil, season 1, like 3 episodes in, Kingpin bashes somebody's head in with a car door until there's nothing there. We had never seen anything like that in Marvel, ever. There are people shooting each other point blank with a gun and killing each other. Like, when had you seen that in Marvel up until this point? It took gritty and realism and it like upped it by 10. And then the Punisher came out and it was just like, forget about all that. We're mowing people down with guns. And this is not something that you would ever see like in an Avengers movie, right? It would be hinted at. Sometimes, like, Pietro died with bullet shots. That's it. Sci-fi though, right? It wasn't a gun, so it's still kind of. I'm afraid that when Daredevil Born Again comes out, it's not going to be as gritty. I guess.
You think they're going to tone it down?
I don't know if they're going to. I'm just afraid that they might. I have no proof that they will, nothing to hold on to, just other than the fact that like the Disney Plus shows that I've seen up until now aren't really hitting that mark. Right. Loki is very whimsical and like funny, I guess. Same thing with the Hawkeye show. It was more like, it was a lot of jokes, a lot of like one-liners. It felt very Avengers. It didn't feel very Defenders, you know?
I get what you mean. I hope it keeps the same level of grittiness, I guess, or realism that the previous show is accustomed to. And this is not like, it's not season 4, it's a new show, but like with the same characters, but it's still like, it's a sequel show.
I think it's like a soft reboot. Like,
I don't think it's even a soft reboot. It's like, there's Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond. I think that's how this is going.
Right. You know how I'm not going to call it a spiritual sequel because I'm fully aware, like, probably everything that happened in seasons 1 through 3 are canon, and this is just a new wave. But they'll probably do it in a way that introduces new audiences to Daredevil. Probably people that haven't seen the Netflix show or Defenders. But you know, people know. It's like, you don't have to introduce, you don't have to show Thomas and Martha dying at the beginning of every single Batman reiteration, you know? It's like that. It's like, okay, this is a quick little Daredevil thing. You already know who Daredevil is. Let's just get into it.
I kind of enjoy watching her death. I think it's quite hilarious.
I love seeing a child lose his like eyesight through violent chemicals every single time.
From what I'm reading here, it says Born Again is scheduled to premiere on Disney Plus in 2025 and is expected to consist of 15 episodes divided into 9 episode halves, and it'll be a part of Phase 5. The premise is Matt and Fisk try to put their rivalry and darker alter egos aside to help the people of New York, only for their parts to catch up to them, in quotes.
that is a very natural progression of both Daredevil and Fisk's characters, I think.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're not just rehashing, they're fighting again because they both want the best for the city, but they both want to go about it different ways.
Yeah, it's a straight up continuation of the previous thing.
All right, that's good. That's good then.
You know, the only thing, the only gripe I have with the show, and it's not even a complaint, is during the first season, when I first initially watched the show, I was, seeing this intro over and over and over again, and, showing the suit at the end, him in the suit. I'm like, when are we going to see that? When are we going to see Matt as Daredevil? And, we don't get that until the very last episode. I just wish we would have seen it earlier. That's it. Just for me, but for the story-wise, perfect. Everything's great.
I was okay with the timing.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. It didn't bother me. Like, I knew the suit was coming, but it's better than, going 3 seasons and, you're still in a hoodie.
Yeah,
that was
Smallville.
But also,
don't get me started with Smallville.
That's what the punch was at.
But also in season 3, he's barely in the suit either because of what happened in Defenders. I get it, but I don't think they ever explain how Bullseye, the villain, got the suit.
That's where my expertise ends because I'm very fresh on season 3, but. I agree with Chaz. I mean, I understand Jared wanting to see more of the suit, especially
just because
during
it's
the
cool.
first season. I think the suit looks great in live action. I think it looks amazing. I really like the way his, the previous thing, his season 1 vigilante costume. I love that. I think that is so, the black mask with the long sleeve and everything. I think that's so
it reminded me of
hard. It reminded me of what?
A swordless Zorro. I don't know why.
That's good.
Yeah. I love it. I love that. I think he looks more like a. I don't even want to get started on the Iron Fist show, but the Iron Fist in the comics, I love his little mask because it's not just like a domino mask and it's not just across his eyes. It's the whole head. That reminded me a lot of that, and I feel like it's the suit debuting in the final fight against Fisk in the first season. It was thematically.
Yes, I agree. I 100% agree. And I know what you just said about that you don't want to get into it, but I have to mention this. And then, hold on. So one of my early influences to Marvel was the Ultimate Spider-Man show on Disney XD. In 2010s or whatever, whenever it came out. And one of the reoccurring casts of that show is, of course, Spider-Man. We get White Tiger and we get Iron Fist and Luke Cage. So while just having Disney XD on, I got introduced to those characters and I'm like, I really like Iron Fist. I like his deal and Luke Cage is cool. Okay. So when I heard that when Daredevil was coming out and it was going to be a part of these other shows, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, I'm like, okay, cool. Iron Fist is going to be there. He's kind of like the only character I kind of know about. That's the only other one I've seen. At the moment, he was my favorite. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I'll give these Netflix shows a shot. And the only one that was coming out was Daredevil at the time. So I'm like, I might as well watch it all because they're all connected. So because of Iron Fist, which is the worst it's tied with the worst with the Punisher out of the Defenders show. I got introduced. I think
it's worse than the Punisher.
Fair. I got introduced. Yeah, right. Yeah. I got introduced to Daredevil, which is of course the best, and therefore turned into my favorite superhero. I just wanted to say that.
Ultimate Spider-Man. That was the one where they was all going to high school and everything. He was working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and he makes corny jokes almost every line.
Yep.
All right. I want to talk about that later when we get there. Mm-hmm. But that was one of the reasons why I was so excited for the Iron Fist show. I was right there as soon as they dropped it. I started it and then I watched the show and I was hurt. I wanted more. I don't know how to describe it. It was boring to me. That's the best way I could put it.
It was.
So I definitely. Thank you for reminding me of that pain. Both of you guys are reminding me of pain today. I'm gonna need you to stop.
We are both on the same boat with Iron Fist, man, and I love Iron Fist.
And then
I don't understand why you think you're the only one suffering here, Chaz.
No, I'm not the only one suffering, but you guys just like, I'm over here vibing, eating my pizza rolls, and then you guys like, hey, remember this pain, you know? Luke Cage was another one of those shows. Like, I watched the first season, and I was like, I guess it was a good show, and then I kept watching.
Good. I thought season 1 of Luke Cage was good.
Season 2 is where they lost me.
Yeah. It was a little weird.
That was when I tried getting into Defenders, and I was like, I'm not doing these shows no more. I could not get into Defenders. I can't explain why. I was like 20 minutes into it, and I cut it off. I don't know. Just everything just screamed, we can't watch this.
I feel like with Daredevil, it really spoiled a lot of people because it's such a good show. It's such a great show. And shows like The Punisher and Luke Cage and even the Defenders don't really, in my opinion, match Daredevil in both storytelling and just the overall engagement factor. Every episode of Daredevil, I was engaged. I was in on it. And it was like easy to follow too, right? Yeah. Luke Cage is fine. It's not. I understand what people say. It's boring. I get it. I could watch the first season. Never watched season 2. So I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
Yeah, definitely not going to now. But I thought it was.
Did you want to for like knowledge? Because like sometimes I do that. I'll watch things that hurt me. And I know it's hurting me. And I just like I want to have this knowledge that when I talk to somebody about it. Like, if I want to defend them for whatever reason, I might ever one day want to defend Luke Cage. I can be like, hey, this, and that. But I won't know that unless I hurt myself. It's hard to explain.
No. I have to applaud that because I am one of those people that very much values watching something yourself and forming your own opinion on it. But I'm also spoiled because I see that these 20-minute recaps of seasons exist on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, easy. Why watch it? Boom.
You're right. Why spend 13 hours watching a mediocre show that's kind of boring? But sometimes you got to take the goat to bed.
No, fair.
And so you can diss the show later.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the way we do, we just start putting it down in the dirt.
Has there been any topic that we have? Because, we're talking like wonders about Daredevil, but then we also found a way to talk shit on this episode. Has there ever been an episode with like no shit talking so far with this crew?
No. Everything gets praise, and then after the praise, just
Comey.
Time to kick it down to the dirt. Actually, yeah, we did. Yeah,
we talked. Comey. We talked very highly about Comey can't communicate.
I didn't put Comey down at all. No. Should I? Is it too late to add to it? Oh my god! Should I go rewatch and look for like nitpicking craners? Like I hate that he has a flower in his head. Like I don't know.
That's like the only thing.
Just comb your hair, man.
Her bang is weird. Her forehead is too large. I don't know. I'll come up with something. I have not watched season 3 yet. I am going to. Like when I tell you my TV is out there, currently in the middle of episode 6 of season 2. I'm not planning this once we finish this to go right back out there and continue watching the show. Even that you guys said some stuff that was spoils, I do not care. Because like you said, the show is good to me, and it's not one of those where you spoiled and it's just like, well, no need to waste my time anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Like Mauro said, it's very captivating. Like every season is 13 episodes. That's 13 hours that the show just grabs your attention for, and like it doesn't let go. And it's I can't think of a lot of other shows that do that for me because sometimes there are episodes on some shows that I'm like, it's not whatever, blah blah blah. But Daredevil, just about every single episode, there's something to it that makes me hold on and want to see what's coming next. And for each season being great, like spectacular, again, some of the best things the MCU has ever produced, I think season 2 might be the weakest out of the 3.
Oh,
really?
For real?
And that's saying something.
No, I understand what you mean. It's a really good season, but 1 and 3 are better, right?
I think so. I think season 1, top of the charts, no matter what, right? And season 3, because we get back to that Daredevil Fisk head-to-head stuff, that's also part of what made season 1 so great, and we see more of that, of course, in season 3. And, it gets to another level of like this is kind of personal. It means more to these characters. But whereas season 2, there's just a lot of good stuff that's happening with these characters. Of course, we get Punisher and Elektra, and we get to see the Hand, and this like eventually like right after season 2, you're supposed to watch the Defenders, which is like the climax of the whole Defenders stuff. And in season 3, we see aftermath stuff, and of course the homages to the Born Again storyline in the comics. But there's something in season 2, I think it's because it's dealing with two things at the same time, or at least like first half of the season is Punisher, the second half is Elektra and the Hand, kind of, and they kind of meet together in the middle. I think maybe because of the cohesion of it, or like there's isn't like a through line all the way. Maybe that has something to do with me saying like it's the worst out of 3 seasons, even though it's still like a 10 out of 10, you know? There's something about it there, but like there's really nothing I don't like about this show.
Oh yeah, you guys are definitely getting voice messages from me for season 3.
I love the live commentary you've been sending us.
I'm sorry, it's just like I want to talk to you guys about it, and I know like we was gonna talk about it today, but I was like, nah, I gotta get this off my chest right now.
Yeah, you were hyped about Elektra.
Yeah, it was because only like I want you to understand. Like for me, I hate when I watch something and then somebody shows up and I have no idea who they are. Like That's like me watching like Hawkeye. And I got through like all of it, and then like I know this Kingpin, and I just don't know who Kingpin is. To me, I only associated Kingpin to Hawkeye. Like that's like you know how terrible that would make me feel. Like we're not gonna talk about the Spider-Man thing. We're just gonna forget that like I know anything about Spider-Man. Like so, it was like so happy. Like I was happy to know that when Elektra showed up, I knew who Elektra was.
Right.
Because like. No offense to my wife, but like my wife was watching this show with me. Like Elektra would have came across the screen and my wife wouldn't have batted an eye twice about it. She was like, ooh, new cast member. Congratulations. For me.
Somebody else, right? Yeah, no, that actually speaks to what Jared was talking about earlier, how nobody would have watched, not the amount of people that watched Hawkeye and She-Hulk would not have been as significant without these characters being there. Anybody who was watching Hawkeye without having seen Daredevil or even having a cursory knowledge of Spider-Man and Daredevil's rogue galleries, when Kingpin showed up, it would not have had the same effect. Yeah. And I think even with these like shows that are interconnected, I still think that a show should be able to stand on its own 2 feet.
I agree.
Watching Hawkeye by itself, it's not like without having any knowledge of Daredevil, it does not hit the same. And that is that's like a nail in Hawkeye.
For me, I really enjoyed Hawkeye. I watched Hawkeye before I watched Daredevil, believe it or not.
But
I like the show too.
How cool would it have been though if you had already seen Daredevil and it had been some time and you're watching Hawkeye and then out of nowhere Fisk shows up and you're like, oh, you know who this dude is, you know what he's capable of, and suddenly he's in this show, everything just gets dialed up to 100.
That's literally what happened to me.
Well, he didn't even use his full potential in Hawkeye. For Hawkeye, he was like there for like 3 episodes.
Yeah, but like it's still that he's there, you know? Like it's just that adds to it. Hell, did any of you see what was it? Was it Far From Home? No, which one is he in?
Spider-Man's?
Yeah, one of the Spider-Man
home
movies.
In it.
Give me 1 second. I can find this. He's in one of the movies. Oh
Fisk is?
No, Daredevil.
Yes, the last
No Way
one.
Home. He's in No Way Home.
It was in No Way Home. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, he literally shows up and he catches a brick through a window, and they're
exactly.
He's like, how do you do that?
Were you guys in the theaters watching that?
Oh yeah.
I was very excited because I knew the show existed, and so I knew that was Matt Murdock before he even caught the brick. You know, plus man with red shades and the suit.
Yeah. Blind, whatever.
I can't really put that to anybody else.
I knew that he was in the scene before I saw him. Okay. I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't looking at the scene. I wasn't looking at the screen, and suddenly everybody just goes, and then I look up, I'm like, oh.
Exactly what the point I'm gonna make. Even it's so crazy how the love for Daredevil extends to the MCU movies. Spider-Man, which already true. Before the movie even came out, it was rumored that Daredevil was going to show up, that Matt Murdock was going to show up. But the thing that a lot of people probably really wanted to see was, of course, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield appearing in the movie. That's like the big rumor, the big draw, which of course we get. But before we even got that, we see Matt Murdock come on, and he's the lawyer for Spider-Man. Me included, the entire theater that I was at exploded because of how awesome it is to see him in this film. Just to see him. He didn't do anything. All he did was catch a break and give legal advice. He didn't do anything.
Don't need to do anything.
How'd you catch that break? I'm a very good lawyer.
Like, bro.
That's it. Just a little taste, a drop of him sent the theater wild. The theater who was there to watch a Spider-Man movie. Yeah. Dude, you're right. You're right. He does have a draw. He definitely has a following that is kind of unheard of for shows. Because any other character, aside from maybe Punisher. Well, yeah. But from the Marvel Netflix shows, right, any other character would have shown up in one of these movies. I don't think it would have had the same reaction, except maybe Punisher, because he's like so overhyped with the fan base. But even then, not like people were more hyped about Daredevil. There's a reason they put him in She-Hulk. You're right.
I can almost guarantee that we will get a movie where we have Spider-Man and Daredevil teaming up to battle Fisk. Oh, yeah. Because it happens. It happens. It happens in the comics. It needs to happen.
Randomly throw Deadpool in there, too. Might as well have everybody at the red. Just throw everybody in red in there.
Which is also, I was wondering about this, too, yesterday. I mean, this is going to be completely outdated by the time this episode comes out, but I don't care. I was thinking, for 2024... what are the big MCU projects that are coming out?
So these are all the MCU and MCU adjacent movies coming out in 2024. Deadpool and Wolverine, July 26, 2024. We're recording this in April, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kraven the Hunter, like you said, I'm skipping right over them because I don't really care. Yeah, yep. Venom: The Last Dance, October, ready for Halloween. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, probably this year. That's just another Spider-Verse movie, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, of course.
It's not like MCU. And I think that's it. I think after that, it's MCU shows. Agatha, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Eyes of Wakanda, and Marvel Zombies. Whoa, Marvel Zombies. I don't know. 2024 isn't looking super, super tight for MCU movies or shows. There's a couple of things that I'm kind of interested in. Deadpool and Marvel Zombies being top on the after this episode releases, or before, actually. Jared, can you just go back in it and change all of the future tense to past tense?
I can try.
No, it's okay. I was joking.
It's just me dubbing in, like, while you're talking. It's just my voice dubs in, like, when this comes out, when this came out.
When Deadpool and Wolverine
came
out.
Honestly, I would laugh that entire podcast. I would roll.
Oh my god!
I'm like, he really did it. He actually went back and did it.
You should get paid for this.
Yeah, right. I'm really excited. I hope in Born Again we get to see the black and red suit, because we've seen the red, of course, and we've seen the original yellow and red. Now all we need to see is the black and red, which I know will look sick.
Let me look this one up.
Hey, don't have too much faith. That's where we mostly get hurt, because, Young Justice, we had too much faith,
Listen.
Yeah, but that's Young Justice. They've been treating Daredevil really well. We got the yellow and red suit in She-Hulk, and shut up, and it looks great.
Yo, okay, the black and red suit, it looks tight. Insane. It does. It looks so crazy.
And to be completely fair, the Ben Affleck Daredevil suit doesn't look bad. It's just tight, other than armor.
Yeah. So hold on. Here's the thing about superheroes. I'm glad that recently they've found a way for live action to look both to pay accurate homage to the comics, while still making it seem a little more okay, these are people that are fighting, and they need padding and they're being shot at, and then they need to so you can't just be running around wearing tights. You also have armor. The Captain America costumes all look great, like they look military grade, and the Daredevil show made it a point to emphasize this, be like, hey dude, you got f***ed up, you need a suit. You need a suit of armor. The tights, I don't know why that was such a big thing back then in any movie or whatever.
Easy
that
to draw.
out.
Probably because the Boy Scout made it look good, and then they realized
in the comics, I'll give it
a
a pass. In the comics, there's always some sort of like, oh, this is microfiber. You can't cut it. Okay, fair, whatever. Live action, come on.
I think they're just trying to be true to the source material, but like that's going too far.
Yeah, there are some corners you need to cut and some compromises that need to be made when you're adapting anything that's even slightly cartoonish into live action. It's just that's the nature of cartoons.
Probably because they saw the Boy Scout do it, And then
Superman.
And then they're like, oh wait, not everybody's bulletproof like the Boy Scout.
Yeah.
And it's finally now kicking into people that Batman shouldn't be able to fight Superman in a tights.
Definitely. Batman with prep time. He just puts on armor.
Hey, we don't talk about Batman prep time. That Batman prep time is undefeatable, all right? You give that man longer than 3 minutes, you lost the fight. You should have never did that. Pull up to the Batcave, punch him right then and there. While he's getting his coffee for the morning.
This is a completely different discussion, but I love Batman. I love Batman, and you guys are going to kill me for this one, but I don't think... Even with prep time, there's nothing Batman could do against Superman if Superman wanted to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If Superman wanted to win, he would just easy.
Or just don't get close. You got laser vision.
True.
There you go.
Oh, that's true. You can. Look, Batman
can literally pierce into the earth. God knows what metal. I don't care what Batman is wearing. That metal is not going to protect him.
If Batman can go toe-to-toe with Superman with prep time because he knows him. He's known him for a couple of years. He has a bunch of contingencies, and Superman is never going to go for the kill. And that is why Batman would be able to keep him at bay and then find a way to disabilitate him or something. But if Superman wanted to,
Yeah, also why he fears him. And you ever the Justice League, the Zack Snyder, you ever seen where they had to cut in the desert? Or the apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
Like even Batman is afraid of Superman
because
Superman is willing to kill now. There's nothing stopping this man.
I'm sorry, the Batman versus Superman thing was a derailing on my part. I want to get back to Daredevil for a second because wait, no, damn it, I forgot. Oh no. Okay, here we go. So how come, right? When Daredevil came out, 2015, that would have been either right before or right after Ultron. So the Avengers were still together. Can you look up what day? Yeah, because Ultron came out in the summer of 2015. Can we look up when Daredevil came out?
2015.
Yeah, but early or late 2015?
I'll tell you, it came out in April.
April. Okay, so technically it started before Ultron. So at this point, the core 5 Avengers were still fighting Hydra and doing whatever.
Yeah.
How come at no point did any of them read about because the show makes it a point that a lot of Daredevil's antics show up in the newspaper and stuff like that. At no point did anybody read about Daredevil.
Well, it's the Daily Bulletin, which is mainly just Hell Kitchen and not the entirety of New York.
That's fair. But still.
And
continue.
It's the Daily Bulletin, the newspaper that was reporting on Daredevil, just reached around Hell's Kitchen, and yes, Ultron came out in the same year, a month later actually, but this could be set I don't know, a few months, maybe a couple of months right after Avengers 1.
That's true. True. Could have been, but then if anything, that makes it even if it took place way before. Well, regardless, whenever it took place, I mean, when this guy. Captain America needed people for Civil War, which is just 1 year after Ultron. It's weird that they reached out to Ant-Man of all people and not.
Well, he already worked with Ant-Man.
Did he?
No, he didn't. You're right.
Oh, this no. But you're
Falcon knew about him.
Falcon
in the
knew about him.
movie.
That's right. He had tried to break into the little Avengers compound. Okay.
But also here's thank you for bringing this up, though. But this is also what separates Daredevil from the rest of the Avengers or whatever. Like, yes, he does become a part of the Avengers in the comics and even the new Avengers, but he is street level. He's a street level superhero, and that clearly grounds him more with his storytelling and the events he fights. Yes, he fights cults and ninjas and stuff, but so does a lot of other superheroes. Compared that to Batman, which again, he's basically a street level superhero, but he goes toe to toe with gods. Mm-hmm. There's a different ranking system, and other than just seeing it in the newspaper and maybe being recruited by, I don't know, freaking S.H.I.E.L.D. or something during that time for Civil War, there would be no reason for any of the Avengers or Cap to look at Daredevil or even follow that up.
I like to think it's that makes sense. No, I agree. And I'm glad you brought up S.H.I.E.L.D. I like to think it's because S.H.I.E.L.D. was disbanded after Winter Soldier that Daredevil and even like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Punisher didn't really fall under their radar. That's just I understand the real life reason why. Okay. But aside from that, in universe, if S.H.I.E.L.D. was still up and running, we would have potentially seen an Avengers team that had the Defenders in them, but it's that'll be my headcanon. S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone. The Avengers don't have the resources they had, and they're kind of sort of working for the government now. So, the government has them where they want them to be. Okay. That's fair.
I'm really trying to think about this.
And also Cap was just looking for people he could trust. He doesn't know Daredevil.
No,
never met him.
Blind man? Why not? He's blind.
Also, the first ever superhero to have a disability, if I'm not mistaken.
Hold on, let's go through that. Yeah, first superhero in the MCU at least.
I'm just saying comics.
In comics in general?
I'm sorry, is there more than just him?
Are there? There's no. Okay, today there are plenty of superheroes with disabilities.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. It's Dr. Midnight. There's no dearth of these kinds of heroes and villains in comics. Disabled superheroes have been around since the 40s, with Dr. Midnight, who can see in the dark but is blind at night. Widely considered the first disabled superhero. Okay, sorry, excuse me.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna need you to go back and read that again.
I don't know what dearth means.
No, not that. It's he can see in the dark, but he's blind at night.
I don't know, man. It's something to do with Thor.
Hold on a second.
I can see in the dark while the sun is up, but let me tell you, once the sun sets, I'm done for. Like, do you hear the way that sounds?
No, fair. Like many.
But also, Daredevil was in the 40s, too. So, like, around the same time then.
He was blinded when a grenade went off in front of him, caused by a gangster, Killer Maroney, but he found that he could see in the dark. Okay, so he could... Yeah, Dr. Midnight. He made special goggles that allowed him to see in the daylight, and then decided to use his special ability to fight crime. Okay, so he's blind, but he can see in the dark. Like it's like the opposite. But on top of that, he's not really like, he found a way to combat that, because then he just made goggles that lets him see in the daytime too. So now he can just see whenever.
So he's got ultra dark shades on or something.
So he has daytime versions of night goggles, night vision goggles. He has day vision goggles.
Yeah.
But his sight is still there. I get it. Okay. So
he got so much light exposure.
Technically, Daredevil is still the first disabled superhero.
Fully disabled, yes, fully disabled. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like he's actually blind.
Yes.
Now, the fact that he can see better than people with vision is a completely different thing. Let's not even.
That's just his powers, That's just his power. Yeah. Echolocative radar sense, and just heightened senses overall.
Just throw in a bunch of technical superhero mumbo jumbo and you got it.
I'm still on this whole. I got so much light exposure I can see in the. Huh?
I don't know. Dr. Midnight, man. Let me read. This is just
so much light. I got enough light to see in the dark with my eye, but I can't see during the day. I had enough.
He can't see at all during the daytime because a grenade exploded in front of him. but then he could see well in the dark.
It was a regular. Wait, hold on. It was a regular grenade. I'm thinking a flash grenade. It was a regular grenade.
I don't know. It didn't specify flash grenade. It just said grenade.
Okay.
It just a grenade went off. Chaz, you know about this.
This man should be dead.
When a grenade goes off in front of people, does a mixture of the explosion and the shrapnel, does that somehow do something to your vision?
Yeah, it makes everything go
someone
black.
in the military,
it makes everything go black.
It just
And then you start seeing the light, and it's not the light you're returning from. Let me tell you. Like, obviously, there's the rare cases of people surviving, grenades, but not sight in dark is never been close.
I've heard that the smartest thing you could do if a grenade drops right in front of you is to run and then just fall prone. Because, the shrapnel just goes like you have a higher chance of
covering less
those.
area.
I like to think that maybe Dr. Midnight did exactly that, but then when he went prone, he fell, hit his head, and then his vision just kind of like clicked 180. So he can't see in the light, but he can see in the dark. And that's what I'm going to go with right now because it makes more sense than whatever the that was.
I can't. Can we go back to the actual blonde man? I don't.
TLDR, Daredevil is sick.
Yeah, Daredevil's great, dude. I love Daredevil. I want the video game, Jared. Like, you got me. I've been thinking about it since you sent it in the group chat, and then today, like, I've been really thinking about it with the echolocation and the predator mode and all that stuff. And I think it would be a sick game.
Dude, Rocksteady, hire us. We fixed your Batman storyline with your Arkhamverse storyline with Justice League, Kill the Justice League, and we're trying to make you money with a Daredevil game. Hire us. Contact us.
Are you guys like allergic
Jared?
to money or something?
Hey Jared, Jared and Mauro, I don't think you're gonna get hired by dissing these companies. I don't think that's the way for it.
Listen, all right, I'm not going to
hear it.
I am not going to. What's the word?
I'm gonna walk into the Apple department and be like, "Hey, you guys fucking suck."
This is how to fix it. Okay.
Job.
I will not compromise my integrity by pretending that I am okay with Rocksteady not.
I mean, there's nicer ways to say they can't make shit.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They need to hear it. They need to hear it right, and they need to hear it true. If they can't appreciate our candor and our truthfulness and brutal honesty, then they don't deserve to work with us.
Why aren't you trying to work with them?
Well, maybe I was, but now I'm not going. Now I'm not trying to anymore. I don't like their attitude.
They got the upper hand.
Rocksteady, we're trying to make you money. Hire us. This is a good idea.
Yeah, that's one hell of an application, Jared. Let me tell you.
And I think I misspoke. We didn't fix the Arkham stuff. We fixed Jack and Daxter. That's what it was.
That's right. We did fix Jack and Daxter. So see, here's the thing, Rocksteady. We have a lot of
Rocksteady?
options. No.
Or is that Naughty Dog?
That's Naughty Dog. So Rocksteady, this is a very, very slim chance you have to hire us because we already have we're in the talks with Naughty Dog for a new Jack and Daxter game right now. I really don't think. Honestly, I don't even. You know what, Rocksteady? Forget about it. Forget it. Don't worry. You lost your chance. You lost your chance, guys.
You them on the wrong game.
You lost your chance. It's okay.
But yeah, I want this Daredevil game. I want this to exist. It's too perfect. It's almost too perfect. The only real trouble I think is just scaling just Hell's Kitchen and working out the parkouring and grappling mechanics. That's it.
I think it can be done. Hell's Kitchen is what like a borough in New York.
I think so.
Like, just kind of, you could probably make without it seeming cramped. You could add a lot of architecture to it, specifically since a lot of it is like back alleys and stuff. Yeah. Where you can make it semi-open world. Like the Mafia games are a very good indicator of an open world, like something that seems open world but isn't really, because the city just kind of works like as a backdrop to the story. Right. So instead of going around and completing missions in different areas, the story is linear, but in between stories you have like side missions and side activities you can do in the city.
They made Arkham City. We just need a Daredevil version of that.
The only issue is that Hell's Kitchen wouldn't be as big as Arkham City, but it doesn't only need to like be in Hell's Kitchen. You can just make a giant part of New York with Hell's Kitchen being one area.
Like
the center, yeah, there you go. Just move around, dude.
Yeah.
You can play the VR version of Daredevil if you like it. All right, it costs like $5. You go to the store.
There's a
what
VR.
What are you talking about?
You get a blindfold, you put it on, and you
shut up.
I heard the tutorial is pretty hard. I wish you the best of luck.
You should patent that before Rocksteady gets any ideas.
They gonna take my $5 idea. I'm gonna get offended.
Rocksteady's calling me right now. I'm not gonna answer.
This is too funny.
Oh, I think I might do that actually now. I might go and leave and just tell my wife, hey, give me a blindfold. I'm gonna blind myself for a week, and I'm just gonna see how well I can operate life. Take the car.
I'm taking the car. I'm taking the blindfold and the car keys. Where are you going? Just around. Just don't worry about it.
I'm gonna see if I can hear the raindrops and make my way to the gas station if I can.
We're not trying to offend anybody who is blind listening to this episode. We're just having fun. Daredevil rules, man.
Daredevil does rule, and not because not because he's
Well, that kind of sucks for the blind people because they didn't get to watch Daredevil, so they can't really see the problems in the show.
You know what? It's okay. Sometimes I listen to shows when I'm going to bed because I can just I like to imagine what's going on. I did that for the Looney Tunes sitcom. Remember that Looney Tunes had a sitcom on Cartoon Network?
The Looney Tunes show, yeah.
The Looney Tunes show, right. I thought it was fun. I think it's relatively funny. I don't know if Looney Tunes would work as a sitcom or if that should have ever been done. But if you close your eyes and don't look at what's going on, you can just imagine whatever. That's what I did for a long time. So I feel like you could listen to Daredevil and just kind of, I mean, if you're blind, you can't really do anything else but listen to Daredevil. A lot
of the stuff that has been said within the past 5 minutes might get cut. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. If I was, let me not jinx it. However, I would not like to. I know that for certain audiences, they have the closed captioning where you're listening to both the show and then a description of what's going on. I feel like that would be more jarring than it would, okay, so this is what's happening in the show while they're talking.
So you basically taking us back to the 1940s and 50s where we used to I say we, I'm that old. They used to play
when they released the movies.
They used to play films on the radio, and it's basically listening to a baseball game over radio.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's not I could do that.
And that's the way they used to do this.
They used to be so realistic or so well at giving off the story, I guess, that I don't know where. I mean, you can look this up. I don't know where exactly it happened, but in some small town they were playing a soundie, not a movie, about an alien invasion, and a lot of people tuned into it halfway through the broadcast, and they actually believed that a real alien invasion was happening because it was so it had news anchors and people talking and stuff like that, and it was essentially a story about an alien invasion, but a lot of people tuned into it and thought that it was real.
Oh yeah, the War of the Worlds.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah,
Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah, I need to find a comic book shop, a good comic book shop that's nearby, because I think if any comic books to keep up with, I think it should be Daredevil for me, just because he's my favorite. I can do the same with Blue Beetle too, but I think if any ones that are constantly going, I think I should do that with Daredevil. I have a lot of cool Daredevil comics already. I have a nice little stack, but I had almost the entire collection of the Cloak and Dagger comic book lines.
Oh, that was
And-
another good show for a little bit.
Yeah, it's oh my god, I love Cloak
Why did I
and Dagger is
stop
my second
watching it?
favorite Marvel superhero hero, even though they're a duo. And I started
why
getting
I stopped.
I don't know. I started getting into it because I know the show was coming out, and I just thought the concept was cool. And I got just about every single comic issue, and I had to like sell them because it was, I needed the money, and I kind of regret it, but also it brought food to the table, so like pay off. But yeah, anyways, I need to find a comic book shop that's nearby to like.
The cool thing
keep
about
up
comic
with
book
the
shops
devil.
is that there's keep up with the devil. Nice. I had one in my area. It got shut down, but they get like kind of put you on the newsletter, and you're like, okay, so whenever there's like a new whatever of new issue of this comic and that comic, just put it on my newsletter, and then you show up every Wednesday or Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, I used to work at a comic book store. Do you know A&M Comics in Miami? It's by South Miami.
I'm not familiar. Hold on.
It's on Redacted Road.
I live in
Redacted
Road now.
Really?
Yeah.
Redacted. Oh,
A&M Comics?
Redacted.
Oh, yeah. I just forgot. I've seen it. This is cool. All right, well, hold on. This has been here forever.
It has one of the longest running comic book shops in Miami.
Oh, I used to go by because I'm going to stop talking about where I live and where I used to live. However, I used to go by this place a lot when I was younger.
Give away your address. It's too late now.
Can we just have Jared saying redacted when I
got it?
Like instead of cutting it off, just have you say redacted when I say
bleep, just redacted.
Yeah,
got it. Already done.
Thank you. Yeah, no, you used to work there on that one?
I used to work in A&M. It's a shithole. Like it's. I loved working there, but like the environment sucks. Like it's. Oh, what can I say? It's dirty. It's overcrowded with it just has a lot of shit that it's not very organized. It's dusty as it would be. It's like it's not a nice, clean comic shop, and there's barely any space. They have cool shit. But like
I see the pictures in Google Images, and it's very. What the hell is this? Hold on, just I don't know if it's gonna. There are like these weird. There's no way it's gonna focus.
Take a screenshot.
It started focusing like right
for like a second. There are these weird like I don't know what it is, but it's like going up.
Yeah, and just hanging off in the middle of the store. Those are toys. Those are action figures just hanging there.
Jesus.
Yeah, man. It's not well organized, and they just keep getting more and more shit, and also like people aren't buying a lot of it.
I never seen a organized I never seen a let's say fancy comic book store. Every comic book store I walked into is cluttered.
Yes, but there's difference between being cluttered and just having a lot of stuff and displayed nicely, and just like rat packing,
Yeah,
and that's what that is.
The pictures I saw in Google Imaging are definitely a lot. Like it's every comic book shop I've ever been to times 10.
Yeah, it's like they try to have a lot of stuff and they just don't have the space for it.
That's fair. It's a small location. Even the outside looks very run down.
It is. It's been there for a long time. It's old, But anyways, yeah, I used to work there. I got most of my comics there, and that's where I started reading Daredevil and stuff. So as working there, I would buy like every week. I would buy like a comic or two, like when I got paid at the end of the week, and read it and stuff like that, added to my collection and all that. So it was fun. It was a great high school job for like 3-4 months.
Okay. Well, I mean, dude, you were in high school working at a comic book shop.
It's great.
Let's say how you were living the dream compared to me.
I was.
The only thing that would have topped that was maybe working at a GameStop.
Yeah.
That would have been it.
Does anybody else have anything to say on Daredevil? Because I just realized we like.
Yeah, no, this was great. We covered a lot.
Off topic for a while.
I'm looking forward to whatever. I'm looking forward to Born Again.
Yeah,
that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I love Daredevil. He's still my favorite Marvel superhero. I want to specify, like, I keep doing that. I keep specifying Marvel superhero just because I don't have like an overall favorite superhero of all time. Like, for some reason, I have to divide it in like in DC, it's Blue Beetle, then Kevin Conroy's Batman. But in Marvel, it's Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger, Doctor Strange, so on and so forth.
It's hard to
I don't know why I do that.
And say like which one's like your favorite because you love them all.
Yeah, exactly.
Understandable.
But yeah, Daredevil's my favorite Marvel superhero, and thanks to this amazing freaking show, like I got exposed to it, and that's really what tied me down to comics and stuff. So I'm happy. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Born Again is gonna do, and I'm very excited for it. What do you got to say, Chaz, to close it off?
I can't wait to watch season 3. I'm really debating.
Yeah.
I'm just like saying, forget these next 7 episodes, but I'm not, because I'm already too embedded on where I am right now. Right now, Punisher is giving his backstory right now on like what really happened.
That's a great scene.
And
that's such a great scene.
That's literally when I text you guys. No, I text you when we first started getting his backstory, when he was describing his little girl, like he was going to see her while she was at school. Everybody was crying and everything. And he's like, not my baby girl, not her. She was holding me up. And I was just like on the couch just in tears. I was like, dude, I've seen you for like 20 minutes and you already have my heart. You have no idea. And
oh my God. Yeah, there are so many great monologues in this show, and that's one of them. Yeah, it's so good. Oh, one last thing, I promise. In season 1, episode 2, the hallway fight.
Oh.
One of the best shot choreographed fights in the entirety of the MCU.
All of it. From the second he kicks down the door and he goes in there, and then the door closes back again. The cinematography there is fantastic. For a second, you don't even see what's going on. You just hear the punches and the kicking and the yelling, and then dude gets thrown through the fucking door. Another guy shows up, microwave to the head. Oh my God. And then the fight begins.
It's
you want to know
good.
what fight I liked?
Yeah.
It was the one with the Russians when they was holding the kid hostage, and he went down to like one of their hideouts to get the kid.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
that was the second episode.
Yeah, in the green hallway.
Let me tell you how I thought that was like episode 5 or 6. I was like, no, I think they're talking about when he kicked the door down for Paige. When they was trying to kill Paige.
Oh no, that's different. The hallway scene with the microwave to the head. To the head. Like that's and then he comes out and starts kicking the shit out of all of them. It was an amazing fight. All of the fight scenes in Daredevil.
I highly agree with you. That was my favorite. It was 10 out of 10. I will watch it all again any moment.
I'm gonna watch it again right now.
Not a single cut. Yeah, let's just watch it.
No, but you're right. No, Jared. Not a single cut. It all happens in one go. I love that. I love that. I don't know how many times it took. I don't know how many microwaves to the head that guy had to bear with, but the overall the finishing shot, the overall product was worth whatever brain damage he sustained.
Thank you, Goon number 5, for sustaining that much damage with microwave to the head.
No more than one goon was hurt in the filming of this.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Razzle Dazzle Show. Be sure to let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at Razzle Dazzle Show, on TikTok at Razzle_Dazzle_Show, on Blue Sky at RazDaz Show Pod, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Raz_Daz_Pod. Be sure to rate us 5 stars and leave a comment down below. We'll catch you on the next one.
Next time on The Razzle Dazzle Show.
I've worked really hard mentally in the last few years to develop a kind of growth mentality, to not try and think of achievement and success as a fixed point, but instead achievement is relative to where I started. It's not relative to where I want to finish, and it's not relative to where anyone else is. And what that has opened up for me is this feeling of working on a game like Xenoblade and being so thrilled to be part of it and feeling like bits of it went great and being in the booth and thinking, God, that went really well. And I'm really excited to hopefully get to a point in my craft where I look back on it and don't think it's very good. Because you can fail in two ways, I think. You can fail by not trying, or, and this is genuinely terrifying, imagine the first time you ever do something, it's the best you ever do it.
Right.
That's scary. And so embrace the fact that you're going to continually be imperfect and you're going to continually be learning, growing, and hopefully getting better.
Tune in next week.